Smug author reviews own book, X, a romantic comedy about lost love and lookalikes. Indeed. We're moving on to chapter 5 today. Meet-ups and let-downs. Yes, that's the level of wordplay we're operating with today. If you've missed previous episodes / chapters of X, a romantic comedy about lost love and lookalikes, fear not, they're all wonderfully entertaining. And superbly read by myself, underrated author Lee Bullen. Chapter 5. It was a glorious Saturday afternoon as the gold-speckled sun rays shone down on the lawns of St. James's Park. People happily basked in the surrounding energy, revitalising their weary bones, rigid from far too many damp days running a perpetual hamster wheel of life. UK life, of course, this is set in London if you're just joining us. Lucy and Amanda arrived as Nick added the finishing touches to the large picnic rug and selection of fruits and treats laid beneath a plane tree by the lake. Sounds delicious. Glass of sparkling water, he called with a grin as the pair startled at the scene in front of them. Nick, what have you done? Lucy gasped as a plastic cup was thrust in her hand. He's trying to make amends, Luce, Konrad said, appearing from behind a tree and fastening his fly with his right hand. His left arm sported a cast covered in unsightly black squiggles. If you remember, he was pushed down some stairs by the intruder, Samoa and Sam. You've made him go all gooey on us. Shut up, Nick spat back. Have you just done a wee behind there? Lucy questioned as Konrad fiddled with his fly. Of course, I'm a sentient being who lives at one with my natural environment. Did you explain that to the children playing by the lake as you exposed yourself? Amanda said scornfully. Konrad was taken aback. And you are? I'm Amanda, Lucy's sister. Ah, of course, the lawyer. Here to tell me what I already know regarding my client's case. Nice to meet you. And he outstretched his unhindered hand, finally free from the fiddlesome fly fastening. Do you mind if we shake once you've had an opportunity to wash that? Only I'm a sentient being who prefers not to have contact with pissy hands, she said coldly. Rather good, no? Good comeback. Konrad withdrew it and wiped it on the back of his Bermuda shorts as Nick passed cups to Konrad and Amanda. Sorry to hear about the attack, by the way, Amanda added, nodding to his arm cast. What's with all the black scribbles? Your cast looks like a chessboard, Lucy said. Him, he snarled, gesturing to Nick. Lucy shrugged, awaiting elaboration. Every time I doze off, he draws a cock and balls in permanent marker. Nick rolled around the rug in self-gratifying laughter, squashing a plate of sandwiches. It isn't funny. I've only had this a few days. I know. You got 5 more weeks of this, Nick said. Nicholas Green, you're a bigger tyrant than Joseph Stalin, Konrad asserted dramatically. Nick tutted as he rearranged the sandwiches on the paper plate. Why not paint over the genitalia with correction fluid or something white? Lucy suggested. Nick tossed a sandwich, called to at her. Oi, don't put ideas in his head. Do you mind if we get started? Only I have my own more pressing cases to prepare, Amanda interjected sternly. Yes, of course. We really appreciate your advice, don't we, Con? Actually, I don't think it's needed, but it's what my client requested, he replied with an air of arrogance. And you're his paralegal, Amanda asked. I prefer legal representative, but yes. With what experience? I've studied law and have experience in legal matters, albeit more in the environmental area. Given his background and personal standing with the client in question, I'm perfectly equipped to act on his behalf and get an appropriately lenient sentence. Is that so? Amanda said. Absolutely. I know everything there is to know about the case. Then you know that unlicensed paralegals can't represent anyone in court? She asked, anticipating Konrad's response. He blinked at her, his expression unwavering. That I did not know. On a nearby bench, his back to the group, Samoan Sam sat sweltering in his black suit, lapping an ice cream. Occasionally he turned to take photos of group members and tried to listen to snatches of conversation, albeit unsuccessfully due to the distraction of overzealous pigeons and overexcited children. Look, it doesn't matter. I'll represent myself on the day. You can advise me and help me to prepare everything. Please, everyone sit down and tuck in, Nick said impatiently, gesturing to his meticulously prepared feast. The group took a seat on the rug. So based on what Lucy has told me, you did the right thing pleading guilty at the hearing, Amanda said. Konrad smiled smugly. Told ya? I understand they have footage and statements, although Lucy declined, as technically she didn't see anything. Nick and Lucy gave each other a warm smile. I was curious why the prosecutor was so outspoken in her request to have your charge upgraded to with intent, certainly guaranteeing prison time. And although she failed, she was successful in getting the sentence passed from magistrates to Crown Court. It was particularly unusual and most out of character. I've known Harriet some time. So what does that mean? Nick asked. Well, it's your first offence and that will be taken into consideration, but it's still a serious charge and the victim's injuries were significant. The magistrate's court can hand down custodial sentences of up to 6 months, but it's not common for a guilty plea. However, she convinced them that your case is serious enough to warrant a stronger punishment than they can impose, and as a result, the Crown Court can sentence up to 5 years for this particular offence. If you remember, in Chapter 1, he laid out with a single punch Joshua Arnaud, the posh art gallery owner. I'm afraid now it's in their hands that anything can happen. So why does the prosecutor have such a hard-on for my client? Konrad asked. That I do not know, she replied, slightly repulsed by the false mental image. Konrad scoffed and shook his head. Oh, and Nick, Amanda said, turning to the worried-looking defendant, I'd strongly recommend better representation. With the group chatting on the picnic rug, Simone and Sam was able to get a photo of them together and turned to take a few snaps. He recognised Konrad and the redhead with Nick outside the pub, but Amanda made him curious, not because she was new, but because she looked familiar, and he couldn't remember why. He enlarged a photo of her on his smartphone, but his recollection remained foggy. He looked up Josh's name and tried calling, but the number was engaged. Thanks for the update, Harriet, Josh said, smiling broadly. Harriet just mentioned the prosecutor. He was sat on the bed in an Armani suit, loosening his royal blue tie. I guess I owe you one, he joked, forcing a power laugh down the line. Oops, I'd forgotten about that. Okay, I owe you too. But you were warned that would happen if you went out with an Arno. Harriet returned the power laugh with vigour. Excellent. I have full confidence you'll be assigned a sympathetic judge for the sentencing next month. A leggy brunette breezed past the bed in an elegant red gown and entered a luxurious ensuite. Brunette, leggy. Sophia, remember from? Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Keep me informed, Josh said, as Sophia removed her earrings in front of the mirror. Great work getting the case moved up. Give my love to Fifi. Josh hung up and kicked off his shoes. Who was that, dear? Sophia asked, pulling at her eyes in the bathroom mirror. Someone will help him with a case against the scumbag who mugged me. He's lying, of course, isn't he? That's good. Any luck retrieving your rings and Rolex yet? Not yet, but don't worry. I've got a nice little claim in for that, he said, smirking. Oh, guess what else happened? Her reflection asked the back of his head. An old friend of mine was also mugged in Camden this week. Came home and found a burglar in his flat. Got pushed down the stairs and broke every bone in his body, apparently. Konrad, of course, if you remember. Really? That's appalling. Camden's getting worse. Maybe I should think about selling my place and moving here. What do you think? Her parallel image suggested none too subtly. Do you mind if we talk about that later? Only have to call an artist about an important expo next month. Time difference to the States and all that, Josh said, covering the distress rising through his veins. His phone rang and Simone Sam's number came up. Oh, this must be him now. I'm going to take this in the next room, and he hastily left the bedroom. Impeccable timing, Sam. How can I help? Something interesting, boss. Nick's with the redhead again. Lucy? Where? Having a picnic at St. James's Park. Curious? They're not on their own. His mate's with them. The one you nearly killed. Yeah, he said solemnly. Well, make sure they don't recognise you. They won't, don't worry. Why am I not filled with confidence? They're with someone else, Summer and Sam said, ignoring the slight. A woman, I know her from somewhere and it's driving me nuts. I reckon they're talking about the case. What are they saying? I don't know, I'm not on the rug with them, but it looks pretty obvious. Listen, find out who she is. I can't have them learning the prosecutor's a friend of mine. No problem. Anything else? Yes, I'm a bit worried about this thing with Nick and Lucy. She could make things messy for me. Very messy. What do you want me to do? Have a strong word in her ear. Make sure she stays away from Nick. You're going to Tenerife next weekend? But it's my birthday, Nick complained, munching on the last fairy cake from the depleted picnic. And it could be his last before prison, Konrad added unhelpfully, draining the remaining drops of fizzy water from his plastic cup. Nick cast him a dirty look. I told you, it's work, there's nothing I can do, Lucy protested. Nick tossed a stale, half-eaten cake, eagerly devoured by an assertive pigeon. Oh, come on, it can't be that big a deal. Tenerife's hardly known for its festivals and live music culture. Elvis impersonators and tacky discos, maybe. It's not like that anymore, and of course it's a big deal. I'm a promoter, and this is one of the biggest summer festivals in Europe. Corsica Coleman's headlining this year. That's great exposure for 2 indie bands I got on the bill. Corsica Coleman, Konrad dismissed. The talentless celebrity, performing live. Don't make me laugh. I doubt anyone could, she fired back. She's quick, Lucy. She's very quick. Oh, I love her. Nick looked disappointed. And no one else can do it, Luce. Yeah, if I want to lose my job, she said sharply. Again, as quick as sharp as a tack. Hey, Nick, why don't we go, Konrad suggested. Go visit your dad. Your father lives in Tenerife, Lucy asked. Yeah, you never told me that. Nick saw an escape route off topic. Look, it doesn't matter. I can't leave the country. My sentencing is in a few weeks. You're not Al Capone, Nick. You can travel as long as you're back for it. That's right, Amanda confirmed. So it be party time, Konrad said in a Caribbean accent. I didn't do the Caribbean accent for political correct reasons. Drawing odd looks from the group, Lucy waved her hands at him. Oh, no. Look, guys, I don't know what you think this is, but I'm going over there for work, not party time, whatever that is. We know. We'll just nip over for the weekend, say hello to Nick's pappy, sink a few birthday bevies, and then be back for work on Monday. As long as you understand that I'm travelling with the band, you two can do what you want, Lucy said firmly. Yeah, I've heard that about you, Konrad joked. Amanda's face stiffened. That's my sister, she glowered. After an uncomfortable delay, Lucy placed her hand on Amanda's knee. Sorry, my older sibling can be a little overprotective, she said softly. Yes, I apologise, Amanda replied. She took Lucy's hand, and I'm afraid we really have to be going. I know, Lucy said, and the pair got to their feet. Nick, let me know if you book something. I'm sure I could find some time to have a birthday drink with you. He raised his plastic cup to her. And thank you for the lovely picnic, she added, with an impressed smile, and Nick and Konrad watched them stroll through the busy park in the direction of Buckingham Palace. Konrad turned to Nick. So? What? He replied, disinterested in Konrad's leading question. Tenerife, we going? I don't know. Well, don't sound too excited. It was somewhat dropped on me. But we're going, yeah? Nick thought a moment. If flights aren't too expensive. Cool, Konrad said, leaning back. Just as long as that bloody sister doesn't come, eh? Nick failed to laugh. He stared out to the far reaches of the park, focusing on nothing in particular. Con, why did you have to mention my dad? Because he lives there. I know, but that doesn't mean I want to see him. Don't you? Nick sighed. You know things are weird. You haven't spoken to him since your mum died. You can't go over there and not visit him. Yes, I can. Konrad turned and flicked an offended hand in his friend's direction. Well, I think that's horribly snobby of you, but do what you want. You always do. He noticed a large man in a black suit get up from a nearby bench and walk off in the same direction as Lucy and Amanda. It can't be, Konrad said to himself, sizing the man. What? Nick asked, but Konrad was too distracted. He struggled to his feet, fixed on the man walking across the lawn towards the path. The large figure looked over his shoulder as he quickened his step, and Konrad caught a glimpse of his profile. It's him, Konrad screamed, and without thought rushed after the man, his cumbersome cast hindering his stride. Con, what are you doing? "It's the burglar! It's the bloody burglar!" he shouted over his shoulder, struggling to run in a straight line. "Hey! Hey you!" he called to Samoan Sam, who turned around to see Konrad hurtling towards him. "You've got to be kidding me," he said, and turned to sprint away. "Come here! Come back here, you coward!" As Konrad gave chase and the pair became small distant figures zigzagging through the park, Nick sighed and gathered the picnic debris. Slightly red-eyed, Nick was sitting with his back against his mother's headstone, drawing in a pad with his favourite Copic pen. "So after that night at hers, it's all gone a bit cold and weird," he said, scribbling furiously. "She's not interested in going out anymore, and I don't know what the next step is." He stopped and put the pen to his mouth. "Or whether we can even help each other. Maybe we'll end up doing more harm than good," he said, absently scanning the cemetery perimeter. He lowered his head and continued drawing. "I do know I like being with her. We have a great laugh and I can tell her things that I can't anyone else," he whispered to the stone. "Apart from you, of course." And he gave the surface a soft kiss. "At least since I met her, I've started to paint again, so I suppose I should be grateful, right?" He stopped sketching. "Anyway, enough about that. I actually came here to talk about Dad," he said with a spine-cracking neck roll. "I've decided I'm going to see him. Konrad's coming with me to Tenerife and we're going to look him up." He placed the drawing pad by the side of the grave and returned the pen to its set, sitting cross-legged to face the headstone. "I'm actually a bit worried though. You know we've never got on and it's been a long time since we last spoke. I'm really not sure it's a good idea to see him like that. I'm worried I'll lose what little love I have for him." The thick layer of dark cloud, which had been preventing the chilly August afternoon from fulfilling its obligation to be summery, suddenly opened and sent down an unappreciated shower. In the cemetery, visitors fastened their jackets and made haste for exits and a waiting cover of somewhere roofed or hooded. As they ran like constipated chickens, trying to protect shoes and clothing from rain splatter, Nick noticed Lucy hurrying down the path, fumbling with a bright yellow umbrella. It was beautifully vivid. "Luce," he called out. She saw him and ventured over, raising a parasol as she sidled up. "Hey, just finished work? I wish. I'm only going home to change. The bands are playing a warm-up gig in Shepherd's Bush tonight and I have to attend." "Wow, long day." "Yeah," she said, looking into his eyes as they illumined under the brightly coloured umbrella. If you can picture that wonderful description by Lee Bullen. XX. Romantic comedy about lost love and lookalikes. "You want me to come? Maybe after we could go out and..." "It's work, Nick. Sorry, I can't," Lucy interrupted bluntly. "I see you're visiting again," she said, gesturing to the grave and intentionally changing the subject. "We've just been talking about you, actually, and whether we're ever going to go out again." Lucy squirmed, searching for a new change of topic. "Ooh, so I hear you and Konrad are booked for Tenerife. Excited?" she asked, falsely enthused. "Yeah, it should be a good weekend. Celebrate your birthday in style," she gushed. "Something like that. And visit your dad? Maybe. You've never mentioned him before," she said, aware of his hesitancy. "It's complicated." "Well, it's raining. Want to go somewhere for a coffee and chat?" Nick looked across at his mother's gravestone. "Yeah, I think that would be nice." Join us next time for Chapter 6, Coffee and Complications. I hope you enjoyed Chapter 5. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and buy the book from Amazon. XX. Lee Bullen. His second book. Let's learn about this very talented and undiscovered author. Lee Bullen is the best-selling author of The Set, my first book, XX, and numerous comedies and novelettes. He previously worked as an illustrator, it's true, and screenwriter, but now solely devotes his time to crafting natty novels. His personal interests include squirrel romancing, ferret fondling, and stringing the guitar. His more intelligible writings are available in paperback and ebook at Amazon. The book, Blurb. Who's this good-looking chap? Oh. Please. Woof woof. Nick and Lucy forge an unlikely alliance after they discover their lust for dead ringers of lost loves and help each other meet eligible suitors on London's dating scene. Trouble looms when their friends and siblings grow concerned at their obsession for chasing memories. And with problems mounting around their intensifying relationship, they soon find their journey takes a heart-stopping turn. Nick's best friend Konrad is nursing an aching heart of his own, but befriends beleaguered celebrity Corsica Coleman, following a fateful encounter that would shape their very future. Together they launch a series of high-profile events that would halt plans to develop an era of London Heathland, derail a tyrannical tycoon, and alter everyone's lives beyond imagination. Double X, a riotous comedy about love, friendship, and obsession. I've told you where to buy it. Go out and get this book. Tune in next time.